In this episode of Redesigned, we're going to be diving deep into something affecting wallets, or lack thereof, everywhere. The rise of the cashless society. Remember finding a £20 note on the pavement? Them days are over, man. Those physical interactions with money are fading fast. We'll explore how we got there, the surprising role artificial intelligence plays, the real-world impacts on everything from culture to the cost of living, and the potential future of money, including some worrying worst-case scenarios. We're going to be looking at all of that stuff. And also, Oscar bots on the red carpet. AI films are now eligible to win Oscars. Imagine that. And also, YouTube is officially taken over as the most watched streaming service in the world, ahead of Netflix. Plus, could face scanning technology put an end to underage kids watching things they shouldn't be watching online? All of that and more coming up after the intro.
Redesigned.
What's good, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Redesign podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about all things technology and digital culture, whether it's AI, robotics, crypto, social media, any of that stuff. We talk about it right here. And we obviously like a bit of nostalgia. We like to give a nod to the 1900s, to the 80s, the 90s, the good old days. Shout out to all the Gen X, out to the millennials and the Gen Z, and anyone who's watching. Everybody's welcome here. This is the podcast where we look at the past, present and future of technology and everything that it brings, how it affects us as a species on planet Earth. A little bit of housekeeping. If you are a first-time watcher and you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to press the bell so you get notified every time a new video drops. New episodes come out every Thursday here on YouTube. And to everyone else listening on different podcast platforms, the podcast comes out every Thursday, but the video version is now exclusive to YouTube. With that being said, let's get cracking with this week's podcast. Before we do that though, still to come, we have got Scrolling Deep, where we go through the rabbit hole of all the wild, crazy stuff, articles, that kind of stuff that you find on the internet. And what else? We've got the soundbite challenge. And speaking of soundbite challenge, last week's answer, if you didn't get the correct answer, because this one was quite a difficult one. If you didn't get it, the correct answer was the theme for Squid Game. So give yourself a pat on the back if you got the correct answer. And if you didn't get it, no worries. We've got another one towards the end of this podcast, so look out for that. And with that being said, let's get cracking with this week's news. Right, picture this, right? You're in your front room, cuppa in hand, ready to unwind. But guess what? Netflix isn't your first port of call anymore. Of course not. It's YouTube. According to Nielsen, YouTube has officially overtaken Netflix for watch time on the TV screen. Yep, YouTube, the home of cat videos, conspiracy clips, and Mr. Beast giveaways. It is now the number one platform on your telly. YouTube has hit a new high, capturing 12% of overall streaming watch time, and that is since March. This firmly places YouTube's connected TV offerings well ahead of competitors in terms of viewership share on television screens. So how did we get it? Well, while Netflix has been pumping out prestige dramas and docuseries, YouTube has been quietly taking over your lounge thanks to its endless rabbit holes, creator content, and of course that seductive autoplay. But people aren't just watching on their phones anymore. They're flinging on shorts, podcasts, how-tos, full-on creator sagas onto the big screen. And here's the kicker. This doesn't even count YouTube TV, the actual subscription part of it. So the real numbers might even be even higher than that. In March 2025, YouTube hit 12%, as I mentioned before, 12% of total TV streaming watch time, which is up 7.9% from just 2 years ago. So even your nan's getting involved. Viewership amongst the 65 plus is nearly double what it was. So what does that mean? Well, we're not just watching telly differently, we're actually redefining what TV is. So YouTube isn't just competing with Netflix anymore. It's actually coming for Sky TV, BBC. Yes, we're talking about your dusty Freeview box. The takeaway is YouTube didn't just sneak into your living room. It's made itself comfy, cracked open a tin of biscuits and nicked the remote. So here we are. YouTube is now part of culture. digital culture. YouTube is not going anywhere anytime soon. Let me know what you're watching this on. Are you watching this on your TV, on your phone, your laptop? Drop a comment below. I just want to see something. I want to see how many of you are locked in on the TV. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, it looks like you got a smile for the algorithm, mate. Discord, yes, the gamer chat app that somehow became everyone's favorite group chat of choice recently, has started face scanning or photo ID checks for anyone in the UK or Australia who wanders into NSFW territory or fiddles with the safety toggles. We're talking about the teenagers out here. Discord is trialing a new age verification system here in the UK and also Australia, which is going to require users to verify their age through face scans or ID uploads. Now, this measure responds to local laws like the UK's Online Safety Act and also Australia's regulations restricting social media access for under 16s. Now, the verification applies to users who haven't previously confirmed their age and is triggered when accessing sensitive content or adjusting filter settings. Currently, users can either scan their face using the device camera or upload a photo of their ID via a QR code. Discord assures that biometric or ID data will not be stored, as face scans are processed on device and ID images are actually deleted after verification is complete. Now, this plan follows a lawsuit filed by the state of New Jersey against Discord, accusing the platform of inadequate child safety measures. And this lawsuit highlights the ease with which underage users can access the platform by simply entering a false birth date, and criticizes the default message filtering settings that allow unmonitored messages from friends. Now, Discord has expressed surprise at the lawsuit and has reiterated its commitment to improving user safety. Now, the company swears up and down that the scan stays on your device and IDs are deleted, but the vibe is clear. The old click I'm over 13 or click I'm over 18 handshake is dead. The cat's out the bag now, and I welcome it. I think that's a great idea. Definitely a great idea to protect the kids at the end of the day. You know, children are exposed to corn at such a young age, and it's not good. So yeah, that era just got Thanos snapped. This isn't just about Discord, it's about a shift in how the internet works. So this is probably going to be the first of many. So are we edging closer to an internet where anonymity is a luxury and access is permission based, not assumed? So the big news from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the folks behind the Oscars, is that films made with the help of artificial intelligence are now officially eligible to win those coveted golden statues. According to new rules announced recently, using AI and other digital tools in movie making will neither help nor harm a film's chances of receiving a nomination. Essentially, the Academy is saying that while AI is becoming a tool in the filmmaker's kit, they'll still be looking at, the usual stuff such as human creativity and involvement when deciding who the winners are actually going to be. Now, we've already seen glimpses of AI in recent Oscar-honored films. For example, remember Adrian Brody's performance in The Brutalist? AI was reportedly used to refine his Hungarian accent. And also in the Oscar-winning musical Emilia Perez, similar voice cloning technology, covered this a couple of weeks back, voice cloning technology, that helped enhance the singing voices. And this kind of tech is becoming way more common for tasks like, dubbing, altering the tones, styles, or even some visual edits. But it's not going to be all smooth sailing. The use of AI in films remains a really hot topic, and also is controversial as well. We're talking about screenwriters, particularly during last year's Hollywood strikes. They voiced a lot of different concerns about AI potentially taking their jobs and the use of their likenesses without consent. We've heard from figures such as Susan Sarandon raising alarms about their images and voices being used to create performances that they didn't actually approve. And also screenwriters also worry about studios using AI tools such as ChatGPT for tasks like research and early script drafts, potentially cutting human writers completely out of the process. While safeguards were put in place as part of the strike agreements, the debate obviously continues. So some of the industry are exploring and even embracing the technology, while others, such as Scarlett Johansson have issued strong warnings about the potential for misuse. And interestingly, some animators feel that generative AI isn't quite up to scratch yet for award-winning quality work, suggesting it might be good for outlines but lacks the emotional depth needed for Oscar-worthy storytelling. Me personally, I think AI has definitely come a very long way, especially when it comes to generative AI and storytelling. I don't think it's ready for movies yet. I think you can get away with music videos, short form content, that kind of stuff, creative product advertising, that kind of stuff. But I don't think that it is ready to completely replace Hollywood, although Hollywood should definitely be worried. It will happen eventually. It will, I don't think it will completely cut out Hollywood, but it's definitely going to democratize the entry. The barrier to entry is going to be a lot lower to get into movies. And when that happens, obviously, the profits for the big studios will continue to fall. But that's just my take on it. What do you think? Let me know inside the comments. So there you have it. AI is officially on the table for the Oscars, which marks a significant moment for technology in film. Let's go for a quick break.
Give you his Panasonic cure with tiny creatures that unfold their features. An FM sound that turns your brain around. Next, his group prescriptions unleash a power that changes the future of human sound. Make your next appointment with Panasonic to examine sound band and triple tape. Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
We tap our cards, we wave our phones. It's convenient, it's fast. But what does this relentless move away from physical cash mean for us? We'll explore the pros and cons of a cashless society, how AI in finance is accelerating this change, the history of contactless payments, and also the profound impacts on everything from culture and privacy to the most vulnerable amongst us.
And now I'd like to talk about an entirely new category of service. And it's all about the wallet. Our vision is to replace this. And we're going to start by focusing on payment.
So let's rewind a bit. How did we get here? Many of us remember the days of signing those flimsy credit card slips or feeding coins into machines. Sounds like such a long time ago, right? The big shift towards enhanced security in the UK really kicked off around 2003 with the introduction of chip and PIN. Remember that? When was the last time you had to put your PIN in to pay for something? I can't tell you because I use contactless everywhere. Everywhere I go, I use contactless. I cannot even tell you the last time I entered my PIN for anything. Those embedded microchips were designed initially to combat the rising card fraud that was happening, replacing the easily forged signature with a 4-digit PIN code. Then came contactless. While experiments happened earlier elsewhere, Barclays were the ones who pioneered contactless cards in the UK back in 2007 with the Barclaycard OnePulse. And that was initially capped at a £10 limit. Now, as it became more popular, that limit crept up over the years to £20, then £30, then jumping to £45 during the pandemic. And now sitting at the limit of £100 since late 2021. And what made contactless, particularly mobile contactless, like ubiquitous, what made it mainstream? Many would point to Apple when they launched Apple Pay back in 2015. Suddenly, like paying with your phone or watch wasn't for the nerds. It wasn't niche. It became mainstream. It was slick. It was integrated into devices millions already carried. Then you had Google Pay and others following suit, and that further cemented the phone as the primary payment tool. Now, pioneering this seamless digital experience is an engine working tirelessly behind the scenes, AI. When we talk about AI in digital payments, it's not just about futuristic robots or that kind of stuff. AI algorithms are fundamental to the modern financial system, which we're steadily moving towards. It's going to get more advanced, and it's going to be a lot different to what we're used to by the time we hit 2030. That's when we start to consider stuff like blockchain as well, but that's for a different That's for a different conversation. So think about fraud detection. AI analyzes millions of transactions in real time, spotting patterns and anomalies that suggest fraudulent activity far quicker and more accurately than any human could. So it learns your spending habits to flag suspicious purchases. AI also streamlines processes like know your customer, which is you probably see as KYC checks. If you buy crypto on Binance or Coinbase or anything, you know what I'm talking about. KYC checks and identity verification, making onboarding smoother, but also easier to collect data. So when I'm talking about onboarding, I'm talking about like when you sign up to a new financial service, crypto account or anything like that. Now, beyond security, AI enables personalized financial advice. It powers chatbots that handle customer queries. So they've replaced the retail bankers, the ones that would usually sit behind the glass window in your bank. Those people have all gone. A lot of branches have closed, and also telephone banking. This has replaced a lot of that stuff. So customer queries, and it also helps the financial institutions manage their cash flow using predictive analytics, so they know how much money to move around and how much to keep. But essentially, AI makes the cashless system more efficient and mostly more secure and increasingly personalized. But, you know, I always say convenience has a cost. With this efficiency, there's a trade-off. Vast amounts of data are being generated and collected and analyzed. So while the tech is impressive, what about the human cost and the changes to our daily lives? Consider our transport systems in cities such as London. The Oyster card system was an early step away from paper tickets. People need to create accounts, so they collect your data and you would have a prepaid card. So when you think about it, that was one of the first big moves towards cashless society. Now you can often just tap your contactless bank card or your phone and you can move around on the transport system. Barclays worked with TfL back in 2014 to enable contactless card payments directly on the readers. This is incredibly convenient. No more queuing for tickets. You've got automatic fare capping. You can save money. But what's the flip side? No more paper travel cards means every journey is digital and tracked. Your travel patterns become part of your data profile. And again, it relies on having, a lot of the time, a charge device or contactless card. And if you lose them, you run out of battery, you might struggle to get home. So this convenience comes at a cost. Does this efficiency come at a cost? Of course it does. It subtly increases the costs elsewhere, perhaps through data monetization or phasing out cheaper anonymous options, or what happens when you lose stuff and then you have to pay for replacements. But beyond transport though, what happens to culture when cash fades? You don't find a $5 or a $10 on the pavement anymore, you? You know, I still remember finding a £20 note on the bottom of the staircase when I was at college. That small thrill has gone. More critically, consider the impact of cashless society on homeless people and other vulnerable groups. That decline of cash directly impacts street donations. It's something that a lot of people don't think about. That really affects the vulnerable, you know. Opening a bank account often necessary for digital payments can be incredibly difficult without a fixed address or ID. So that creates a significant digital divide. If shops increasingly refuse cash, and you're starting to see a lot of that with the self-checkouts in supermarkets, or if access relies on smartphones and data plans, those already marginalized risk further financial exclusion. And this isn't just the homeless. This affects some elderly people as well, especially those in rural areas with poor connectivity and the unbanked. And when we're talking about everyday scenarios, for example, your phone battery dies, you need to pay for parking at a meter that only takes card or an app payment. What are you going to do then? You know, you're screwed. Suddenly you're stranded. How does a stranger help you out with bus fare if they don't carry cash? These small frictions highlight our growing dependency on digital transactions. Now let's move on to the cost of goods and services. While businesses have been saving money on handling cash, digital payments are not free. payment providers always charge transaction fees. So those costs, are they going to be absorbed by the business, or is it passed on to you, the consumer? Probably passed on to you. So could we see more dynamic pricing based on our analyzed spending habits? So they look at our spending habits. Remember, I was talking about data, and this leads us to a position where they're using the data and they're exploiting us because they know our spending habits. They know, oh, you can't do without this. So let's bump up the price a little bit. You're going to pay for it anyway. So like, it's controlling the market conditions. Something to think about. And this leads us to the bigger, perhaps more unsettling questions, the end game and worst case scenarios. One of the most frequently cited cashless society concerns is the potential for increased surveillance and government control. Every digital transaction, every tap on the tube creates a data trail. And who owns this data? How is it used? Could governments or even corporations monitor, analyze, and potentially control our spending or movement one day? Imagine a future where access to your digital funds could be restricted based on your behavior. Cash offers anonymity. Digital payments involve tracking. So in essence, we trade privacy for convenience. Furthermore, total reliance on digital systems makes society vulnerable to cyber attacks, technical glitches, and power outages. This same thing happened to TfL just last year around September. There was a cyber attack that hit TfL, and they couldn't refund customers for like 2-3 months. So go look it up. Something to think about. So that just proves that if the system goes down, all commerce, even travel, could grind to a halt. So the journey towards a cashless society is complex. Obviously the convenience is undeniable. Efficiency driven by AI in finance and changes to systems and transports. It helps us in more ways than one. Granted, that's all good. We have the history of chip and pin and contactless payments, turbocharged by mobile solutions like Apple Pay, to thank for getting us here. But the drawbacks are significant. We face challenges of financial exclusion, particularly impacting homeless people and other vulnerable groups. And there are tons of practical hurdles, cultural shifts, and big concerns about privacy, data, security, surveillance, and potential government or corporate control, all highlighted by the move to digital-only systems like those increasingly seen in transport. Is a completely cashless future inevitable, or is it desirable? Should we be actively working to preserve access to cash? What are your thoughts? Does the convenience outweigh the risks? What worries you most about a cashless future? Let me know in the socials or in the comments. I'd like to know your thoughts. All right, we are back for another soundbite challenge. So if you don't know what the soundbite challenge is and you're new to this, I'm going to play a snippet of a theme song, a video game music. Could be anything. Could be a film, a phrase, a quote, whichever. I'm just going to pick one at random and you've got to guess the answer. So last week, no one got that one right. No one got last week's. Actually, someone did get it right. Did someone get it right? I don't remember. But anyway, I'm going to play that in 3, 2, 1. If you know the answer, drop the answer in the comments.
You are scrolling through an endless digital labyrinth where strange websites, bizarre posts, and conspiracy theories collide. A place where cursed videos autoplay, deep dive subreddits unravel reality, and the comment sections of social media posts spiral into madness. The algorithm is pulling you deeper, but where does it lead? Is it addiction? Is it the truth? Or just another glitch in the system? Welcome to Scrolling Deep. Scrolling Deep. Scrolling Deep.
All right, we are here for another installment of Scrolling Deep. What madness has been uncovered on the internet today? All right, so this one is a podcast. Obviously, it's AI generated, a podcast of a baby and a dog. Yeah, a baby and a dog talking on a podcast.
Welcome
Check
to
this
the
out.
Talking Baby podcast. On today's episode, we'll be talking to the weird-looking person who lives at my house. Thanks for being here, weird-looking person.
Well, thanks for having me. As you know, you are my third favorite person in the world, third behind the two larger people.
Hey, don't you just love generative AI? Like, I do love the stuff that you could do on there. Like, it's very, very creative, I must say. Let me know in the comments if you tried creating any content using AI. Anyway, let's continue. Speaking of AI, I found this account on Instagram called planet.ai, and they've done a post about zodiac signs as final bosses. And I've got permission from them. So shout out to planet.ai on Instagram. Yeah, check this out. Yeah, I bet you stayed to see which one you were. Let's continue. And now for the finale. This is meme.ig. I bloody knew it. Yeah, that's enough internet for me today. Yeah. Anyway, that wraps up this week's podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. What did we talk about today? We talked about cashless society. We spoke about YouTube being the #1 most watched TV platform in the world right now, even more so than Netflix. Never thought I'd see that coming. And the fact that so many people are now watching it on their TVs rather than their phones, that is amazing. So like, to have you guys watching me right now, that's a privilege. That is, you know, thanks to modern technology. I mean, we've all got the opportunity to build a platform, build a following and all of that stuff. Yeah, like, it's a privilege. And also that face scanning thing, that technology for verifying age checks, I think that's long overdue. Brilliant idea, and let's see if the rest of the internet can catch on to it, because it'd be a great thing to keep underage kids from accessing things that they shouldn't be watching. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. New episodes are out every Thursday. So with that being said, stay safe, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.